You know what I'm here for.
Back on top, punching the clock, clutching sanity. I got more cribs than Habitat for Humanity.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back. My bad for not finishing daily December. I just needed a couple of days off to just recuperate and get some energy back. But I'm back, and hopefully I'm gonna try and finish out the month strong, uploading as much as I can. Today we got a trade article that we're gonna react to because December 15th is the day when NBA players who sign contracts in the offseason can finally be traded. So we're going to be hearing a lot of trade rumors, trade talks, and hopefully some deals happening soon. I feel like this is going to be a year that's going to be very busy, especially the closer we get towards the trade deadline. But I'm excited, so we're going to react to this article from Bleacher Report that has, I think, 5 trades listed that could potentially happen. Before we start, leave a like, subscribe if you are new. It helps out the channel a lot. This article was written on December 13th, so that would be Monday, yesterday, by Andy Bailey. Andy Bailey is a pretty good source with Bleacher Report, so I feel like this article would be okay. But Bleacher Report always has some wild stuff in there, so let's see how it goes. First one, the Mavericks add some 3-and-D potential. We see Cam Reddish is the cover guy here. The deal says Josh Green and the lottery-protected first-round pick for Cam Reddish. The reports came out over the past few days that the Hawks would be willing to ship Cam Reddish, but they would want a first-round pick in return and maybe some young talent. Josh Green is a former first-round pick, I believe, of the Dallas Mavericks. I believe he's a first-round pick or maybe an early second. But he's somebody who hasn't really got a lot of run. He's gotten some run recently. He's been pretty decent from what I've seen from people in Mavs Twitter talking about. But this will be interesting because right now, if you're the Hawks, you don't really have DeAndre Hunter for the foreseeable future. He's out with an injury. You do still have Kevin Huerter. I mean, Cam Reddish is that wing depth that you have right now. He's been solid off the bench. It's kind of slowed down a little bit after a very good start. But it just seems like he's always been the odd man out in Atlanta. But it's crazy because my personal opinion, I think a lot of people think this way too. He probably has the most upside out of the 3 wings that they do have between him, Huerter, and DeAndre Hunter. I think he has the most upside, man. He was somebody who was a top 3 player in his class. He went to Duke, played alongside Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett. He just didn't really have like the same opportunities as those guys, I think. And, you know, he's kind of inconsistent at Duke, which is why he fell a little bit in the lottery. I think he was the 10th pick. And hasn't really had a consistent chance in Atlanta because they have so much wing depth. You know, and also you add in Bogdanovich also in that rotation. And then he's also dealt with some injuries, you know, too. So I think really for the Mavericks, this would be a very good trade. I think the Mavericks actually walk away from this deal the most excited team because they have a young guy that has really, you know, high potential. That, you know, he's been compared to guys like Paul George. He has Paul George type of potential. That's what he was compared to coming into the league. I think he's somebody that could be a very good shot creator next to Luka. So I think the Mavs actually walk away from this trade, you know, a lot happier than the Hawks. I think the Hawks might be a little hesitant, but for the Mavs, this will definitely be a good move. Next, it says Utah bolsters their defense. We see Jeremy Grant is the cover guy, so this should be a little interesting. So the deal is Bojan Bogdanovich, a top 5 protected first-round pick from 2026, so a little bit down the line, and a 2022 second-round pick, which is from the Memphis Grizzlies for Jeremy Grant. If Utah makes this move, man, I think this bolsters them. I don't think that this just bolsters their defense. I think offensively, Jeremy Grant would be great as like a secondary perimeter option alongside Donovan Mitchell. We know he brings great defense, also can hit the 3-point shot. And this way, like, he won't be the main guy like he's been in Detroit the past couple seasons. So we can see him probably get back to being a more consistent offensive player as far as percentages and stuff goes. But seeing him as a second option after what we've seen him do as a first option over the last year and a half, even though this season's been a little down, I think this will do wonders not only for him but for the Utah Jazz. The Jazz just always seem like, we were just talking in the video the other day, they seem like they're just like a piece away from really being that team that can really, you know, get over that hump in the postseason. I think adding Jeremy Grant would be the move that would help them really be a top contender in the West when it comes to postseason time. The Knicks address their starting lineup, and this has Myles Turner as the cover guy. So let's see what the trade is. Nerlens Noel, Obi Toppin, a 2022 first-round pick, which is from the Charlotte Hornets, and then a top 10 protected 2023 pick and a 2022 second-round pick for Myles Turner. That's a lot. That's a lot for Myles Turner. That's just a lot of draft capital, I think. You do give up the young prospect in Obi Toppin, which I think is expected. We still don't really know what the Pacers' direction is. We don't know if they really want to revamp the team as a whole or just retool a little bit and build around either Sabonis or Myles Turner. I think this is a good return for Myles Turner if you are the Pacers. I don't know if the Knicks would be willing to give up 2 first-round picks. But giving up Nerlens Noel, who's kind of been a little injured here and there, and then also giving up Obi Toppin, who's shown some very good flashes this season, a lot more consistently than last year. But you get somebody Myles Turner that's, you know, been a 40% three-point shooter for most of his career, one of the best shot blockers in the league, very good defender. Definitely be an interesting move. Would you slide Mitchell Robinson to the bench? I think they would have to pay Mitchell Robinson after this season, so you know that might be, you know, accepting the loss of him or not wanting to pay him a lot of money. But I think this could help the Knicks out a lot because their defense has been pretty poor this year, which is crazy because they were one of the best defensive teams last year. Knowing that you have somebody behind you that really protects the basket very well just allows your perimeter defenders to feel a little more at ease, definitely. So this will be an interesting move. I think Myles Turner, we know he's going to be a name that's going to be linked to a lot of teams. I think every team in the NBA basically would accept a Myles Turner on the roster. So it's going to be interesting to see where he does go. I wouldn't hate the Knicks. Other teams that I could see him going, I've seen the Timberwolves. I think that would be a pretty good move, even though him and Cat are both, you know, 6'11", 7 foot. I think they could still fit together well. I think the Raptors and the Hornets are probably teams that need a center desperately more than a lot of guys, but those would be good spots for him. And also the Warriors, I think they have the young assets, if that's what the Indiana Pacers want, and they could probably throw in some draft picks too. And I think they have a very good chance of probably pulling in Myles Turner. We'll probably see them in a trade later in this video, probably sending around the Pacers too. But Myles Turner is definitely a hot commodity when it comes to, you know, trade targets around the league. And the next trade is the Warriors trade young talent for Sabonis. I'm in the camp. I think the Pacers should just trade both of the guys and just completely hit the reset because it can be fun for fans. It could get, you know, people in the seats because they have one of the lowest attendances in the league. And I think just having a young team to look forward to is something that can help, you know, build some like anticipation. Like guys are actually excited to see your team on the court. So I think, you know, getting rid of the veterans that you do have to get some young talent can be helpful for, you know, the organization as a whole. But here we see the Warriors flip young talent for Domantas Sabonis. The deal: Wiseman, Kuminga, Moses Moody, and a top 5 pick from 2026. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I'm not sure how Sabonis really fits the Warriors scheme. Not sure how he really fits the scheme because he's a traditional, like, either back to the basket or high post center. Not sure how he really fits that, you know, that scheme. I think Myles Turner would fit a lot better. Also, Kevon Looney does a solid job just doing what he does. And that's a lot. I mean, Sabonis' contract isn't crazy, so that's the good side of things. But that's kind of a lot, man. You're basically shipping your entire future away. You know, the young assets that you do have. For Sabonis, who's an all-star, I mean, he's an all-star. He definitely deserves, you know, a lot of pieces to be traded for him. But just for the Warriors aspect, how does this really fit? I think Sabonis is a player. He's the better player than Myles Turner, but I think his fit in different situations is a little more harder to gauge than Myles Turner. Myles Turner can fit anywhere. Sabonis, I'm not so sure if he could just plug him in and he'll fit with any team. I think he's somebody that you more so have to build around. I don't know how well he would complement the Warriors, but then again, it's the Golden State Warriors, and he's a very good passer from the big man spot, so he might be able to fit in well. But defensively, he's not great. Him at the 5, kind of interesting. Not sure how that's going to work. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of Sabonis in Golden State. I'm more so Myles Turner to the Warriors, but it would be an interesting fit at the very least. I think it would be kind of cool to see how that dynamic would work. You know, you're adding a lot of, you know, all-star power to that team now, and then Klay Thompson coming back. It will definitely be interesting. And I mean, all 3 of these guys that they are trading, they're not contributing right now, and the Warriors are trying to win championships. So it does make a little bit of sense. But then again, I think you could probably get off, you know, trying to get Myles Turner, maybe giving up a little bit less than what you're giving up in this trade. And the last one, you knew Ben Simmons was going to be in here somewhere. And it says the Ben Simmons saga ends in Portland. So let's see what they have. I assume it's not going to be Damian Lillard. And it's not. CJ McCollum, Nas Little, a 2023 first-round pick, a 2024 first-round pick, and a 2025 first-round pick for Ben Simmons. We talked about this dynamic a lot. The Trailblazers trading for Ben Simmons without having to give up Dame. It's kind of interesting. I don't know how much this really switches things for Portland out west. Like, how much does that really move the needle? Now, are they, instead of an 11-16 team, are they a certified playoff team? Probably. I think Ben Simmons helps a lot on the defensive side of the floor. But is he going to elevate you to, you know, all of a sudden you're a top 10 defense after being the worst in the league? I don't think so. I think there's a lot more wrong with this team than just adding Ben Simmons. Outside of that, you're giving up 3 first-round picks, one of them being a pick swap. I mean, that's probably a more ideal package than what Daryl Morey has been asking for, so that's not really that terrible. But then you look at the other side. I mean, Philly, how do they really feel about that? I mean, we've mentioned, like, they already have 2 small guards who do very similar things to CJ McCollum. for a lot less money. CJ's making like $30 million a year. I think he's making a lot of money. So it's like, then you're in the position like, well, how much better does this make us? I don't really think it makes Philly that much better unless CJ all of a sudden goes to Portland and he takes off. He's averaging like 26, 27 points a game. He's an all-star. He's looking like one of the best guards in the league. I'm a big CJ fan. I don't think that's really realistic. I don't think that's actually possible, you know, I mean, it's possible, but I don't think it's realistic, honestly. You know, I don't think that's going to happen. So how much better does that make Philly? I don't think it makes them that much better. I don't think it moves the needle that much in the Eastern Conference. Unless that jump from CJ suddenly happens. I don't think it is, though. I don't think it is. We have to be real in this situation. So I think it really depends on what other trade offers Philly is getting from other teams. If this is the best offer that you get, and Ben Simmons isn't coming back anytime soon to play for you, okay, I guess maybe then you go ahead and make that trade. You do get some first-round picks that maybe you could use in the trade down the line, or use yourself to draft some players. There's always possibilities, but I'm not a big fan of this trade because I don't think Philly will be big fans of it either. And they said they want a top 25 player, which honestly, if you look at the top 25 guys in the league on majority of lists, it's not possible to get most of those guys because a lot of those teams aren't shopping them or they're not looking to add Ben Simmons. So it's interesting. They said in a report earlier this week that a lot of teams are looking at Ben Simmons like they want to trade for him. But honestly, until it happens, it's still hard. This situation is still just as difficult to gauge as it was, you know, in July. It's still difficult to really manage this situation. But these two teams have been linked together the entire time. So for them to get a trade done without involving Dame, I'm not sure how it goes, man. I'm also in the camp of the Blazers. I think somebody needs to have guts in their organization and just blow the whole thing up. But nobody's going to have guts to do that. They are loyal to Dame, which I respect, because a lot of organizations aren't loyal to their players, but they are very loyal to Dame. But I think Dame and the organization both need to just realize, like, the chances of us winning a championship is very minimal. Like, it's probably not going to happen. Just with the pieces that we have, we're not going to be able to add that much talent. And even if we're able to get a Ben Simmons, then what else? I mean, is Ben, Dame, and Yusuf Nurkic enough to win a championship? I don't think so. Is it enough to get out the second round of the playoffs? I don't think so. Is it enough to get out the first round? I don't know. It's the Western Conference. Tough situation, man. But hopefully this gets resolved soon because I'm tired of just talking about hypotheticals. I want to see something actually happen. Trade season, it's upon us. Some of the best times of the year, man. I love talking about trades. I love when trades actually happen so we can see old faces in new places. If y'all see any trade articles or things with rumors in them, send them to me, tweet them at me, all that, man. Because I love reacting to this stuff, and it's good just to see hypothetical situations that might come true. This article is actually pretty decent. I'm surprised. Shout out to Bleacher Report. Shout out to them. I'll be back tomorrow with a new video. I promise I'm going to get back on schedule. Also, leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'm out. Peace.
Off season. Let's work. Hey, plotting my escape this game.